Number 12, Josh McCoy. Number 13, Nash Walker. Number 15, Alex Baker. Number 16, Ryan Warman. And number 17, Brandon Renninger.
There's one I missed.
Head coach for Manchester is Corey Rugerman.
Two, that's all.
And now, here's the starting lineup for your Hope College Flying Dutchman. First, a junior goalkeeper from Wadsworth, Illinois, number 1, Blair McCormick.
11 freshmen. 30
A
NCAA.
sophomore defender from Victoria, Minnesota, number 2, Connor Fowler.
Okay. And then do you have stuff about the
A
new coach?
senior midfielder from Powell, Ohio, number 6, Benjamin Hagman. A senior midfielder from Bloomington, Illinois, number 8, Ryan Woodside.
And
A
his son's
senior
an
forward
assistant
from
coach.
Great Haven, number 9, Christian Dult.
So kudos to
A
you for
junior
getting here. I don't know
midfielder
how you
from
did
Great
that.
Haven, number 10, Isaac Brock.
Yeah.
A sophomore forward from Hudsonville, number 11, Logan Bilesma. A senior defender from Warsaw, Indiana, number 14, Samuel Albritton.
Really?
A sophomore forward from Columbus, Ohio, number 16, James Raymond.
Interesting. They're from the same area even.
A junior forward from Bloomington,
Or like he
Illinois,
has,
number
like,
19,
some-
Dalton Russo. And a sophomore midfielder.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Hope College inside the Van Andel Soccer Stadium. It is a beautiful day to kick off the soccer season. Today, the sun's out, few clouds in the sky. Game time temperature is about 81 degrees, so it's got to be a little roasty toasty on that turf out there. I'm Carly Van Swal alongside Claire De Silva. Thank you for joining me today.
Good evening, Carly. Good to be here.
You guys are here for the matchup between the Hope College Flying Dutchmen and the Manchester University Spartans. Last year, the Manchester Spartans went 10-9, and Hope College went 7-10-2. In the preseason polls, the Dutchmen are tied for third place, and the Manchester Spartans are tied for, or not tied, excuse me, are fourth in their conference in their preseason poll. They bring back 8 of 11 starters. And their main goal this year is to win the conference tournament, hoping that this tough non-conference schedule that they have ahead of them will help them complete that goal. And so here we are off today, and the Dutchmen contain the early lead.
And what's really exciting, Carly, in this game is new coach Dave Brandt, who is just starting out with the Dutchman, and he has a long history here, or not at Hope, but he has a long history of winning success. Starting out at Messiah, being a six-time national championship in 12 years that he was there, and then also having a background at the U.S. Naval Academy and leading them to their first NCAA championship in 151 years. So pretty long time.
Yeah, and we just saw right there Fowler sail that ball right over the net. And we'll get a goalie kick right here. And as you're talking about Brandt, also impressive that he spent some time with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds in the United States Soccer League. So really awesome opportunity for the Dutchmen to have such experience on their side for this season as the Spartans gain control of the ball. DeWitt will fumble it around. Hope's defense will kick that out of the way.
And it'll be really exciting to see how the Dutchmen start off. They've had a few changes here and there. One big one that we've seen is James Raymond, 16, who is typically a left back, going up to play on the right side as a forward. So we'll see how that works for the Dutchmen.
Yeah, so this new soccer coach kind of mixing things up from the previous season that our Coach Smith, who was here for 30-plus seasons, and we thank him for his time here at Hope. But Coach Brandt trying to mix things up to try to put the Dutchmen at the best opportunity to win some games.
And you can already see the Dutchmen going forward a lot more with a little bit more long ball and more play, trying to get Christian Dalt, number 9, involved early on. He was a big goal scorer for the Dutchmen last season, so we'd love to see more of that this year.
And the Spartan defense will try to kick that away towards midfield. Fowler kicking it up the sideline to Dalt. A lot of congestion going on right now, back and forth action.
Back and forth as these boys try to settle in and figure out what works for them and what system.
You know, after all the preseason, the long practices, the hot days, and now finally getting into game mode, it's a completely different mindset to have for both teams.
Right.
Raymond out on the side getting some heavy pressure from the Spartan defense. Walker doing an amazing job on some one-to-one coverage as he takes that ball away.
And one thing that we're seeing from the Dutchmen is a higher defensive line. You see more outside backs getting forward and getting involved in that play.
This ball's kicked up to Fowler, who'll have the sideline, a little space to move.
And you can even see more left backs coming up on the side with that speed.
Roop tries to kick that ball out of the way. Spartans gain possession, but the Dutchmen will quickly steal that back.
And one thing that we can see with the Dutchmen is a bunch of pressure early on, a lot more aggressive anytime they lose the ball. So being able to close down that space, we're hoping to see that for the full 90, but we'll see in these hot conditions today.
Gonzalez maintaining some ground for the Spartans as he kicks that ball up to number 12, McCoy. Finds a fellow team out on the sidelines.
And that's a great way to spread the defense. One thing that will be really interesting is to see number 10 on the Spartans, Jared Wondergem, who is a former Hope player. So it'll be interesting to see him play against his old squad.
Yeah, he'll know some of the inside and outs of that defense back there and a lot of the players that he's known for 3 years now. And we're going to get a stoppage of play.
And it looks like the Dutchmen are trying to do a bunch of quick restarts just to get that ball up the field as quickly as possible.
Albritton will maintain control. He finds Brock up, who quickly gets it right back.
And Brock has been instrumental in the midfield for the Dutchmen, so it'll be interesting to see what types of plays he's making over the top or on the ground.
Fowler will get the throw in from the sideline. Finds Brock.
And both teams are doing a decent job of exploiting space. It's just all about spreading the field right now for both of them.
Beautiful cut by Dalton in the middle. Defense will kick that ball out. Woodside will get the throw in. Finds the quick, easy one to Raymond.
And we'll see about the strategy with Raymond on the right side. One benefit to that is being able to cut in and kind of get more balls with a spin into the defensive third and into the box. So we'll see how that works for the Dutchmen.
Raymond and Woodside up on the ball. Offense getting set, defense finding their players. Raymond will kick that in.
And we see it again, just along that 6, trying to spin the ball to make it difficult for the goalie to make a judgment call.
Blocked by Roop, and Roop will get the ball out of bounds, or out of the goal box, excuse me.
And that's a good clearance by the Spartans, but also a smart play by Dalton to get that ball back to McCormick.
McCormick surveys his options. Goes for the boot.
And that wind is having more of an impact as we're seeing.
Foreman got his head on it, but that ball will go to the Dutchman. As Hagman finds Woodside. Woodside up to Raymond. Deflected off Walker. Raymond will do the throw-in.
And we can see the Dutchman trying to sneak into these little pockets of space and create a lot of space behind the defense. They're going with a lot of pace this year, which is uncharacteristic of a Dutchman defense that likes to stay back and hold a little bit more.
Woodside looks towards the box. Finds Bilesma, who finds Brock. Back to Bilesma.
Just so tight and congested in that defense. The Spartans are doing a great job of closing down pressure very quickly.
Tetakwarzi and Woodside out in a little bit of battle. Dutchman maintain possession.
And that's a great ball by Brock to get it wide to Raymond, and the shot by
Dalton. So far in this game, Claire, it looks like the Dutchmen have maintained most of the possession.
Yes.
But you got to give credit to the Spartans where credit is due, and they've done a phenomenal job of keeping that ball out of the box and taking away most of the good shot attempts.
They're doing a great job of playing zone when the ball's in the middle third, but as soon as we get into that back line, every man is marked so tightly in the Spartan defense, which is a credit to their defense and their organization.
Albritton will kick this ball back to McCormick. Looking at the Spartans, we have some of their key players. Josh Gonzalez was previously the freshman of the year in their conference. And also Drake DeWitt was an all-conference member as a junior last year. So those two are going to be two big contributors that we're going to have to look out for on the offensive end. This ball goes up the sideline. Hope possession. Woodside will take the throw-in.
And we can see most of the attack on the left side coming from Tetakwarzi, who's trying to create plays and 1-2s with his outside backs and midfielders.
This ball is taken up by Wonder Gem. Got a lot of space in the outside corner. Woodside comes in for the defense.
And that's great coverage by Woodside to get back on defense after giving up a ball pretty easily.
DeWitt finds Baker in the middle.
And that's a good shot by Baker. Goes straight into the hands of McCormick.
Hagman will kick this ball right back to McCormick. A little bit of pressure by Wonder Gem.
And that's good by McCormick to get the ball wide early. It seems to be the strength of the Dutchman right now.
Dalton pushes middle. Finds Bilesma. Bilesma goes cross field to Woodside. Woodside pushes it up to Brock.
And already you can see a greater sense of urgency than we've seen in the past from the Dutchmen of getting that ball to where they want it in those spaces and behind. There's a disconnect in the final third, but there's more effort to find those pockets of space and much quicker.
Defense kicks that ball out. Woodside finds it. Hagman maintains control. This ball's out to Fowler to reset the offense. Fowler finds Brock in the middle. Has a little bit of space. Goes towards Dalton.
And it's so dangerous to leave Brock open in the middle like that just because he's so dangerous on and off the ball.
A lot of pressure defense by the Spartans, crashing in on Brock, and we'll get number 17, Renninger. Just kidding. Number 2, Roop will take the kick on this one. The coaches for the Spartan this year are pretty excited about the season, saying that this is one of the best squads that they've had in years. A lot of talent on this team and a lot of younger players who got a lot of good playing minutes last year that can use their savvy veteran skills now to help out the squad this year. Nash Walker will take the kick.
And a quick restart. It's good to see the center backs getting up a little bit just to test the defense and see how far they're willing to run and how far they're willing to set their back line.
That ball goes out of bounds. So McCormick will restart us. With about 35 minutes to go, it's still 0-0. McCormick taking his time. Finds Hagman in the middle. Hagman goes right back to McCormick. Decides to go upside to Albritton.
And that's not super typical for the Dutchmen to see their center backs getting wide on those goal kicks, but it's just another way for them to spread space and get the ball up the field.
The throw-in finds Wonder Gem in the middle. He bobbles it around, taken over by Brock.
And Wonder Gem will be a good point person for this Spartan offense. Just someone who's strong and tall in the middle who can spread the ball.
Hagman kicks it out, giving the Hope defense some time to recover. DeWitt will give that ball away as Raymond starts to make his way up the sideline. Finds Bilesma, who boots it out of bounds, and Walker will give us a throw-in.
And you can see as the game wears on, everyone's starting to settle in and get a little bit tired, so we'll see how everyone chooses to attack to conserve energy the best way possible.
That ball bounces off Gonzalez, and Dutchmen maintain control. Raymond with the beautiful play up, finds Brock.
And that's a good ball, just another example of that spin ball and how dangerous it is and how difficult it is for defenders to judge where they can head that ball to clear it out.
Woodside pushes middle. Dalton's there, heavy defense.
And a good layoff for Hagman.
Fowler finds Hagman, deflected.
And you can see the congestion in the middle of that defense. So it's about getting behind that back line and finding those pockets of space to exploit them and get across closer to the end line.
Raymond with a nice cross pass. That ball's headed out of the box. Dalton will find it at the top. Tripped up a little bit. Taken out by Hagman. Pushes it all the way back to Albritton at about the halfway point. And finds Fowler up the sideline.
And he'll take it with speed down to the end line. And that's a great ball in the middle, just a little off in the connection. And that's a foul by Brock 10 just to stop the speed of play. But that seems to be the strength of the Dutchmen, getting that ball to end line as often as possible because they seem to have a lot of speed on the side, on both the left and right side. So as long as they're able to do that and pull the ball back towards that PK spot, they have a good chance at exploiting the Spartans' defense.
So Meredith will take the kick on this. He finds it, headed by Gonzalez. Woodside will recover it back in the backfield. Gonzalez putting on some pressure. Hagman finds it in the middle.
And Hagman has been very good so far finding those open pockets as a defensive midfielder, but holding back and creating space for his offensive midfielders to create in the attacking third.
Yeah, I think he's done a great job of balancing where he's needed and then backing out to give out some of that extra space. As we see Fowler push it up the sideline, guarded by McCoy.
And a good defensive effort by the Spartans, but just not good at connecting, or not doing well enough to connect the ball and keep it.
Ball out to the side for Raymond. Goes past two defenders. Tripped up by Baker. Brock finds it.
And that was a good effort to try and cut in and create something, either a shot or a cross for his offensive team members.
Great persistence by Baker on the defensive end as we see Fowler push it towards the middle.
And
Headed.
that's a good ball by Fowler, right into the 6.
Dalton finds Raymond. One-on-one.
In the box.
Brock has a little bit of space, tripped up. Dalton has a shot, blocked by Meredith and kicked out by Walker.
And that's great offense by the Dutchman and good persistence to get that shot off. Just a little lacking on the final third, but so close.
Hagman giving them space, finding Woodside out. They spread out the offense, find Raymond, guarded by Walker. Kicks it middle. Bilesma barely misses it.
And again, good defensive recovery by Woodside to be up in the attack, but covering back for his defense as well.
Wonder Gem and Albritton fighting for the ball. Wonder Gem goes up the side, and Albritton will kick that ball away.
And good offensive pressure on the counter, but a great effort by the Dutchmen to maintain their structure and organization on that counter.
Wonder Gem goes right away to Gonzalez. Back to Wonder Gem, who finds Gonzalez again.
And that'll be a corner for the Spartans. So we'll see how they do on set plays in terms of getting big numbers in the box. And they do have quite a few tall players compared to the Dutchmen.
Good opportunity for them to get a goal. One of the best, if not the best opportunity they've had all day.
And we'll see how the Dutchman defense aligns their defense. We can see right now they've got a few guys on the box playing zone, but it'll be interesting to see if that works versus man-to-man.
Ball up. Renninger will head it into the mix of the Dutchman. It'll get kicked out. Tetakwarzi will maintain control. Renninger finds it again, but can't hold on. Woodside pushes up. Raymond's there. Walker's close behind.
Just to open up space for the Dutchman just a little bit.
We're going to get a foul on Walker. Brock looks for the quick start, finds Hagman, who finds Raymond off the side. Tetakwarzi and Walker both there.
And that's a good idea by Raymond, just to get the ball in the mix, but ultimately into the hands of Meredith.
Meredith takes his time while his teammates set. Intended for Tetakwarzi, looked like. Brock got a foot on it, though. He'll get another chance. Meredith goes for the boot again. Wonder Gem's there, kicks it up.
And that's a great flick to create space for Gonzalez to run onto that ball. And very tricky and quick with that ball.
Good defense by Baruso. That ball's deflected off Albritton. Baker finds it. Through the middle, and McCormick will pick that ball up.
And the biggest strength of the Spartans team offense seems to be their counterattack. So the Dutchmen need to be careful and have been doing a good job of organization. But just those little flick-ons into the space are taxing after a while when you're constantly running. Woodside finds Raymond, guarded by Walker. A little help from Wonder Gem. Back to Brusso. Brusso will kick it up to Brock. He's got plenty of space to work with. And cutting inside from the right.
Deflected off of Roop. Fowler finds Fowler out in the corner.
And that's a great ball in. With tons of space for Logan Bilesmuch, just not able to finish it off. That's a good step by Baruso to maintain possession for the Dutchman.
This ball goes out to Dalt. And he'll take his chances at a goal.
And that'll go out for a corner for the Dutchman, the first of this evening.
Looks like Raymond's going to take it.
And one thing we haven't seen so much is Dalt in the middle. We're used to seeing him kind of as a target player, as a forward, and as a true number 9 striker. But we're seeing him out on the outside a little bit more, but still creating opportunities for himself.
Looks like Brock will take this. The Dutchman got 4 players in the box. Albritton looks. We'll get a flying Dutch throw-in. The Dutch trying to use their height in Albritton on that corner kick.
Now we see the Spartans on the counter.
Wonder Gem, lots of space to move. Crosses it, no one's there to help him out, so McCormick will maintain possession.
But a good idea to, again, try and split those center backs between the Dutchmen and try and get Tetakwarzi behind.
A lot of pressure by McCoy. So that ball will be sent out of bounds for Spartan throw-in, and we're going to get a sub for the Spartans. Josh Jordan is going to come in and give Alex Baker a well-deserved break. So that'll be our first substitution of the day. Spartan throw-in here right away to McCoy. We're going to get an offsides call. Good idea by Roop. Or excuse me, Gonzalez.
And the Dutchman will do a quick start again. We see Hagman getting a lot of touches in the back, whether it's to the defense, midfield, or offense, but he's been doing a great job of spreading the field.
Albritton looks to push it up a little bit more to Raymond. Walker's there. Woodside helps it out. Deflected off Bilesma. Finally maintained possession by Raymond, who looks to Woodside. Woodside looks to cross it to Fowler. Spread things out a little bit. A bit of one-on-one pressure.
And we just see these defenders looking for the right pocket of space, and these forwards trying to find those open spaces, but just so tight by the Spartan defense to stay organized, especially between their two center backs.
Dalton assigned finds Fowler, who looks to Hagman. Right back to Fowler. This ball is intercepted by the Spartans. Coy tried to get rid of it, but overtaken by the Dutch.
We see Isaac Brock, again, that movement on and off the ball. So quick to get those touches in, just waiting to get that ball back out.
Deflected off Walker, tries to get it out of the box. And Jordan will get his first touch of the game. Pitched all the way back to McCormick, who will scoop it up. Finds Albritton right away. We have about 23 minutes left to go in this first half. Still 0-0.
And a great ball by McCormick to get it all the way up to the midfield to Brock.
Intercepted by the Spartans. Pushed up. Intended for Wonder Gym. But Woodside will head that ball right to McCormick.
Who will find Ben Hagman in the middle with plenty of time to work.
A little bit of contact, but no call. DeWitt will take over. A lot of back and forth action. Ty Dalt takes it away, intercepted by Walker.
And a good ball in behind for the Spartans for Gonzalez to try and pick up that ball.
Gonzalez with a lot of speed on that sideline, picked up by McCormick though. Fowler goes to find Bilesma.
And because the Dutchmen have set their line far enough, those balls in behind are dangerous, but not as dangerous as they could be if they had a higher line, because McCormick can come straight off that line to intercept it, which is a good strategy on their part.
Teta Kwarzi versus Brock. Teta Kwarzi will find Roop, who looks up the sideline. McCoy can't connect, so we'll get a Hope College throw-in by Fowler, and we're going to get a couple subs. Number 17, James Elwell, and number 5, Dominic Bryn, and number 7, Ryan Flynn. We're going to get a Spartan throw-in. Right away to DeWitt. That will be kicked out by the Hope defense. Number 2, Fowler. We'll get a throw-in from McCoy.
And it looks like it's going to be a long one.
Goes for the easy pass to Gonzalez.
Creates space for himself for a great cross. And that's a good punch by McCormick to come off the line.
Recovered by Woodside. Raymond maintains control. Finds Barini.
And Dutchmen doing all they can to maintain possession and spread the field.
Fowler finds Dalt on the sideline. One-on-one versus Warman.
And Fowler and Dalt, that partnership has not been as aggressive as we'd want to see, but it looks like they have a good partnership and system of going up and down, switching who's going forward, and making a lot of interchanging plays.
So we'll get a corner kick. Elwell will take this. The junior from Ada, from the Forest Hills Northern High School. He looks middle.
That's a great ball in, just no one there to finish.
Gonzalez kicks it out. Woodside to Fowler. Elwell finds Albritton in the middle, who goes quick to Bilesma. Bilesma finds Flynn. Flynn will sail that one out of bounds.
And that's a decent attempt, just a little off target. But it's good to see the interchange between Elwell, just because Brock is so dangerous and just coming in and starting that play immediately.
Meredith on the kick.
And the Dutchman will absorb that quickly.
Raymond pushes at the side against Walker. And a typical one-on-one action for the day. Woodside and Tetakwarzi finds middle. McCoy will head it out. Tetakwarzi will push it up to Gonzalez, who has a lot of space to work with. If he can catch up to the ball, can't quite get there in time.
And that's a good strategy for the Spartans to kind of draw that center back in, just to put that ball in the space behind.
So we're going to get a couple more substitutions. Steve Bidding and also 21, Jack Feld. And I was talking to some of the soccer guys a couple days ago, and they were saying that Coach Brandt really liked to get the bench involved, so it wouldn't be abnormal for us to see the entire roster for this Hope Soccer, this men's soccer team to all play in a game.
Which is a testament to the depth of the squad and just all of the returners as well as the freshmen getting in and getting minutes.
Yeah, there's a lot of experience and a lot of talent on this team, and Brandt intends to use it all. So Veld will throw this ball in. Finds Flynn. Flynn against Tetakwarzi with a little help from Walker. Jack looks middle. Dalt tries to get a head on it. Can't quite. This ball's pushed middle. Dalt gets his head on it that time, but the connection doesn't end well. That one's scooped up by Meredith. Hope College Dew Crew starting to get in the mix of things.
And that's a great punt by Meredith to get the ball on the other side of the field and give that Spartan defense a break.
And I missed it. 23, Michael Francisco is in on the game. My apologies.
And that's a quick start from the Spartans just to get that ball in behind to Gonzalez, their point man, it seems.
Get a throw in from Baker.
And he'll send that ball backwards to Jordan. And it'll go out for a throw, and Spartans will maintain possession.
This ball is taken up by the Dutch. Hell will find it. Steve Binning tries to find some open space. Flynn will maintain control. McCoy giving him some trouble. This ball we push up to Raymond. Walker intercepts. Walker comes back after the deflection. Has a little bit of space. A little bit too much speed, looked like.
Unfortunately, that ball will go out, but that's the first time we've really seen Walker come up on the side on the left, and a potential danger and pressure for from the Spartans.
Right. And we're going to get another sub. Jordan Hooker, number 22, make his way into the game.
And he'll come in for Bilesma.
This ball's pushed up to Elwell, who finds it again, finds Raymond.
And he'll try to spread that ball to Jack Veld, number 21 on the right side. And he's a defender who's known for his quick pace, so getting in behind and having that interchange with Raymond may prove dangerous for the Dutchman.
And Walker maintaining his brick wall defense down there. Deflect that out of bounds. Veld will take the corner. Actually, Raymond will now take the corner.
And we'll see if he can get a dangerous in-swinger, make it hard for that defense and the goalie to judge where the ball's going to go. And that's a great cross in.
And that will not be considered a goal.
It's a good punch by the goalie, but the ref saw something, saw some contact in the box.
So a good move in favor of the Spartans. Dutch try to push this one back up. Raymond.
And that's a great ball in behind to Elwell. Excuse me, Flynn.
Walker trying to get the ball out. Jack Veld will go in for the throw-in. Tries to go for the quick throw-in, but we're going to get some more substitutions. Number 3, Griffin Brusso, and number 4, Brett Dyer, as well as number 19, Nick Schruber.
And number 4, Brett Dyer.
Walker will take the throw-in. Got a couple options with Renninger and Thurber up the sideline. We're also going to get a substitution from number 4, Drew Gavitt.
Drew Gavitt.
Walker finds Gonzalez. A little pressure and push from Veld, so Walker will get another chance at it.
And it's interesting to see that strategy of just slowing down the play and not really letting the Spartans get a flow in this game.
With about 13 minutes left to go in this half. Walker steps back for the kick. The wind has started to pick up in this game.
The Dutchmen are there to absorb that pressure again. Unfortunately, just couldn't keep that ball in.
Deflected off Dyer. Walker once again with the throw-in.
And we're starting to see the Spartans trying to attack more heavily down the left side as opposed to the right.
Walker again, his 3rd time in a row.
We can see him inching the ball slowly but surely with throw-ins up that field.
McCoy out in the corner. A little bit of space. Brusso's there to deflect that.
And that's great insight just to get that ball wide, just to attack that defense and spread them out a little bit more.
McCoy will take the kick.
It will be a corner kick. And we'll see if he can get an in-swinger on the opposite side of the field.
Couple options in the middle. Deflected off of Renninger.
It's straight into the hands of McCormick. And it's interesting to see that positioning of the Dutchmen on their corner kicks. All zonal, no man-to-man marking, which is really interesting. But you can see how open their body positions are, always facing the field as opposed to their own goal.
Brusso looks to push it a little bit.
And that's a beautiful ball, just couldn't connect quite well to the outside to Brusso.
Meredith with a little bit of pressure will kick that up. Dyer brings it down.
And Flynn will try and do a 1-2 with him, but not quite successful. But you can see every time the Dutchmen lose that ball, they're so aggressive and so gritty to get it back immediately.
Yeah, you see at least 2-3 players go to attack the ball right away. A lot of contacts there.
That'll be a foul on 16 Warman to slow the speed of play down, which is good for the Spartan defense because it looks like they're going to have a breather with all of this attack on them.
Get a little bit of a reset. Flynn will take it.
And this could be a potentially dangerous free kick or set play for the Dutchmen.
Oh, Francisco's going to get his job at it. Fakes it. Flynn goes.
And that ball's got good height and spin on it. Just holds up a little bit, but the Dutchmen weren't able to capitalize on that. So goal kick from Meredith.
Meredith taking his time.
And in this first season opener for both these teams, it's interesting to see how they're trying to figure out their attack and what's working best for them.
Yeah, still definitely in that point of the season so early on to kind of iron out those kinks and see what works and doesn't work. A little bit of a flick from Jordan. Back and forth action.
And a lot of quick play between the midfielders. It seems they have a good relationship of understanding if they're positioning, even if they can't always keep that ball.
Walker tries to push it out a little bit, headed by the Dutch. Dyer will get it. Intercepted by DeWitt, pushes it up. Gavitt tries to get a little bit of speed on it.
We can see Dyer on this right side doing a lot of quick in and out moves on the right side just to create a little bit more diversity in how they attack.
Binning will take this one.
And they'll take it quickly just to spread it out towards Dyer again. That's good defense, solid defense by Walker to see that ball out. But Dyer will pick it back up.
Dyer with some grit on the play. Flynn finds it in the middle. Looks deflected off the Spartan defense by Warman. Great positioning by him. And the Dutch are going to get a corner, it looks like. Well, we're going to get a sub first.
But that's a great 1-2 play. And just the shot, just how much speed there is on the ball.
Entering the lineup for the Flying Dutchman, number 20, Petrus Martin.
Petrus Martin will come in. Steve Binning will take it. Keeps that ball a little bit lower. Walker deflects it out. McCoy with the help on the deflection to push it farther up. And Serber speeding up the sideline. Got a little bit of space to move. Brusso coming on hot with the pressure. McCormick bobbles it, but somehow hangs on.
And a great defensive effort by Brusso on the left side just to sprint and put in even the greatest hint of pressure.
Right.
Just to try and slow that ball down.
A little bit of a scare for the Dutchman.
And that's a good header by Hooker, but just ultimately couldn't keep that ball in play.
Walker goes for the far throw into Gonzalez. Gonzalez with a nice pivot. Pushes.
And he's just so tricky on that ball, just not being able to find numbers in the final third, but he can create opportunities for himself.
Cormick will scoop it up with some good defensive pressure help by Binning. Dutchman find the middle of the field, push it back a little bit farther to Veld.
And that's a good idea by Veld, not able to connect with Flynn, but still working to get that ball up the field as opposed to skating through the midfield.
Jordan tries to push it up to Gonzalez. Brusso's there.
And that's a great ball into Serber.
McCormick got hit pretty hard trying to deflect the ball away, as well as number 19, Nick Serber. Both players seem to be okay.
And that was a great ball in behind. The beauty of that play was McCormick was able to get off his line, but there's good space, and there's space to be exploited between those two defenders, the two center backs.
This throw-in is headed by Barini. Jordan tries to push it up, but it'll fall out of bounds.
For a goal kick for the Dutchman.
We're going to get another sub. Number 3, Alex Sanders for the Spartans.
Entering the lineup for Manchester.
And he'll come on to give Walker a well-deserved break.
Yeah, Walker, probably arguably one of the MVP players for this first half for the Spartans on the defensive end, and making his time in the offensive end as well.
And the Dutchman will get that ball in play pretty quickly.
Flynn finds it, goes middle.
And he'll spread that ball wide.
Martin tries to maintain possession, but can't get there in time. Get a throw in from Sanders.
And there'll be a slip up from Dalton.
A little bit of congestion on the Hope defense. Coy tries to get it out. Sander looks middle. A little bit of a mix-up. Serber has it. Tries to push it up to Gonzalez. Intercepted by number 23, Michael Francisco.
That's great positioning by the Dutchman to have their outside backs pinching in to cover for their center backs.
Feld clears it. Header by Hooker. And Martins will put a little bit of pressure on Meredith to get that ball out of the goal.
And good positioning by the Dutchman to get those headers and maintain possession in the back line.
Francisco finds Hooker.
With a great spin off the ball.
Hooker tries to go back to Elwell. And look at a goal from the Dutchman!
A great spin by Hooker to lay off for Elwell, who just finishes that with an instep left foot.
Beautiful spacing, beautiful teamwork. That's the goal that you like to see to start us off on this season. That'll be 1-0 in favor of the Dutchman.
And they've been trying to get behind that back line. And just that simple slip in behind, just to give him space. And then the final touch with so much pace and speed of play on the Dutchman's side.
So we have about 4.5 minutes to go. This puts the Dutchman in a good spot going into halftime. However, there is still plenty of time for the Spartans to make a connection, to make themselves a goal. So we'll see how the Spartans kind of ramp things up going right before the half.
And they'll get that ball back in play pretty quickly and try and spread the defense on the right side.
Warming up the side, goes back middle to Sanders. Intercepted by Veld. Finds Barini. Looks middle to Elwell. Back to Barini. They decide to pull that ball out to Francisco.
And that ball will go out to Flynn, who will just lay it off for Brusso.
Veld getting tripped up by McCoy. McCoy with a strong defense. And Renninger will try to get it out. Binning with the chest.
And that ball will go wide to Francisco on the left side.
Gonzalez tips it up to DeWitt. Tries to find Gonzalez again. Gonzalez with some space.
And that's very dangerous. Binnig with not enough pace to stay with Gonzalez, but Gonzalez is so dangerous whether it's on the right side or the left side of those little pockets of space, and nearly puts the ball in the back of the net with a chip.
We're going to get a couple more substitutions. Number 6, Zach Schmidt, and number 21, Noah Tong, come in for Gonzalez and Warman, who've had good halves so far. Schmidt with the early pressure. Out to Brusso. Brusso looks middle, deflected off the Spartans. Veld will maintain control.
And we can see a lot of pace with Veld on that right side. Not afraid to get aggressive either.
And Veld coming in with a lot of speed, definitely one of his biggest assets. But we'll get a free kick here from Alex Sanders, who will pass it off to Brandon Renninger to take it. Renninger surveys his options. Big kick. Goes deep. Down to Serber. Serber flicks it up. No one's there to help.
And Byrne will get that ball out and give the Dutchman a free kick.
Quick start from the Dutch. Up halfway.
And great composure by Hooker to keep that ball for the Dutchman as the point man up top.
Elwell goes out to Veld.
And that's a great ball in behind.
Martins looks middle. Intercepted by Schmidt. Sanders giving a lot of pressure on the outside. A lot of contact. Finally, a whistle's blown. We've about 1:30 left in the first half action. Alex Sanders. Yep, Alex Sanders will take it. Headed by Serber. Pushes it up to Schmidt.
We'll see good work from Binnig and Francisco to keep that ball.
Brittany pushes it back to Binning. Lots of contact. Brusso kicks that one nice and high. It's the 1 minute warning.
Maybe one last opportunity for the Dutchman to go forward with it.
A little bit more of a sense of urgency out on the field right now. Cormac goes middle to Barini. Intercepted by McCoy. Serber finds McCoy again.
And we can see server trying to find McCoy, especially in behind on that defense, especially because the Dutchmen like to go so high, they can get caught on the counter.
This ball's flicked in the middle. Brusso will kick it far.
And a smart play just to get the ball cleared out in the last 15 seconds of this half.
Hooker will tip that out of bounds. 10 seconds left. We're going to get a throw in from Matthew Roop.
4, 3,
and looks like McCormick will pick the ball up, and that'll be it for the first half. It's about 1-0 in favor of the Dutch. We're going to give both teams a chance to head to the locker room, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes. Welcome back to Van Andel Stadium for the matchup between the Hope College Flying Dutchmen and the Manchester Spartans. First half action, we saw a goal from Elwell to put the Dutchmen up 1-0 going into halftime. Now both teams have had a couple minutes to regroup, and we'll see how the Spartans respond in the second half to that first half goal. So right away we get some action, and the Spartans have control in the backfield. It'll be pushed out though, and we're going to get a throw in from Fowler.
One thing that'll be interesting is to see that Spartan response, just because they've been so good on the counter and they have a ton of speed, so we'll see if they can exploit that in the second half.
This ball is going out of bounds. And we're going to get a throw in again from Fowler.
And he'll get that ball back in quickly.
So this ball is going to get mixed up in the middle. We're going to get some back and forth action. The Spartans trying to kick the ball out. It looks like Raymond will have the ball on the outside.
And that's a great shot by Dalton, or by Dalt. Raymond will pull that ball back in the 18, and Dalt will just rip one at the top of the box, just put it at the back of the net.
And that's the type of 1-2 combination you want to see coming out in the second half. Beautiful job by the Dutchman.
And it's great to see Dalt creeping back into that center spot where he is so dangerous off of those balls, especially with those one-time instep shots.
And scoring goal number 2, number 9, Christian Galt.
So 2-0 in favor of the Dutch. Number 16, Warman will push that ball up to Wonder Gems back in the game.
And he'll come in with a vengeance, and that's good aggressive play by both him and Woodside fighting for that ball.
Ball in the midfield. Headed by Raymond, but Walker will bring it down.
And that's a good ball in behind to Gonzalez, who has a ton of pace.
Gonzalez starting to show off his speed. Can't connect with the goal, but nice shot attempt.
That ball will be offsides. We'll see the quick restart from McCormick up to Hagman.
Brock finds it.
And he's got a little bit of space to work with.
Plenty of space. This ball is going to get kicked out to Fowler, though. Hagman working in the back. Pushes it up to Fowler again. A little bit of pressure from the Spartans.
Fowler will keep that ball for Brock. And a great spin off of Roop in the defense, who will foul him to get a free kick for the Dutchman.
And that's been a skill that the Dutchmen have really used in their favor today, is that spin has really gotten them into some good spatial opportunities to get better opportunities at the goal.
Right, and it's just a good awareness on and off the ball, because they don't necessarily have as much size as the Spartans, but being able to see where they want that ball to go before it comes in is so valuable.
So we have Fowler and Brock back to take the kick. Brock fakes, Fowler goes up.
And that's a great ball in behind with a perfect spin on it. Raymond will go for that shot. Meredith just off his line, but couldn't get to that ball, leaving the goal wide open.
Raymond with the good idea.
And that'll go out for a goal kick for Meredith.
Meredith sets it up, takes a couple steps back.
And we can see the 4-3-3 formation for the Dutchman, and just seeing Hagman step back into that space.
We're going to get a foul. Well, this ball is going to be quickly played by the Dutchman. Auburn, not by the Dutchman. Auburn bring it back to McCormick, who kicks it up.
Brock will try and settle that ball down in the midfield, but just very cluttered by the Spartans, so good work rate for them to get that ball back.
Baker looks up the sideline to Walker, but Woodside's there instead.
We're seeing a good bit of pace from Woodside, who had an ankle injury last year that just kind of prevented him on the outside from being as effective on the outside. So being able to come back with speed and with pace is so good.
Brock with the soft pass to Raymond. Raymond loses it in the pass as McCoy intercepts it. Ball dribbles back to McCormick.
And a good slide tackle by Brusso just to make sure Gonzalez doesn't go off to the races.
Ty Dalton goes, tries to find nice kickback from Dalt.
Unfortunately, Fowler couldn't connect, but again, you see that relationship between Dalton and Fowler to keep that ball going and keep it up the field.
And exciting to see how that relationship is going to develop farther along in the season if we're trying some good skills like that already early on. Woodside up the sideline against Walker. Walker done a great job today on the defensive pressure.
And good work rate from Woodside to keep that ball in and keep it from going to the other team.
Kicked around amongst the Spartans. Tatakwarzi finds DeWitt in the middle, who goes back out to Walker. Albritton will head that ball out.
That's great positioning again by that back line just to remain flat and structured. Bausma will pick up that ball in the middle of the field, but the Spartans will clear it back.
Fowler's there to pick it up for the throw-in. Throws it deep. Intercepted by Roop. Kicked it back. Renninger will push it back up to Warman. Trying to get out.
And that's good hustle by both Fowler and Warman just to keep that ball, or try to keep that ball. And a good tackle by Hagman just to get the ball back in for the Dutchman.
Deflected off Raymond for a throw-in in favor of the Spartans.
And Wondergem will pick up that ball, spin, and send Gonzalez into that back space, coming down on the right side.
Albritton with a great defense.
And he'll cut in, and it's interesting to see the ref does not call what looks like a foul in the box by Albritton. But this ref seems to be doing a good job of distinguishing between foul and flop.
Dalt with a lot of pressure on the sideline. Finally, the whistle's blown. Fowler's going to take it.
And he'll find Brock in the middle, who again is so good at keeping that ball, especially with his size. Very small in the field, but such a low center of gravity, so it doesn't get pushed off the ball very easily.
We have Woodside running up the side. Little misplaced pass. Back to Meredith, who boots it out.
And again, Woodside with the header to keep possession for the Dutchman.
Hagman finds Fowler out on the side. Goes right back to Hagman. Hagman looks middle. Bilesma's there.
Bilesma is such a solid presence in the center of that offense, just keeping the ball and spreading it out and just laying it off for his outside forwards.
Yeah, Bilesma just a sophomore. Great save right there by Meredith. Hard kick, but he's there for the save. And Bilesma, only a sophomore, has done a great job of really stepping into his role for the team, and has done a great job so far today. Meredith sends this one to the halfway mark.
And a good ball into Wondergem, who's so great with his height.
This ball will be headed back to McCormick.
Who's so good off his line and being aware, because he hasn't been tested too much, but just staying present in this game. And a great ball in behind by Woodside to Raymond. Just a little bit too much on it, but again, you can see them trying to test that back line and test the pace of that back line, especially on the sides.
Yeah, a lot of good ideas had by the Dutchman today. Some connected, some not as much, but a really great sign for this Hope College team for the rest of the season, for what we've seen today. Meredith taking his time. That ball flies right to Raymond. Woodside will push that up to Bilesma.
We'll see Walker again at the right place at the right time to keep possession for that Spartan defense and try and get the ball up for them. We've seen a lack in distribution from Meredith in the back with goal kicks and many of the punts, so being able to have a solid back line, especially on the outside, to keep possession is very invaluable for this team.
Back and forth action, the Dutch will take it away.
And that's good hustle by both Ty Dalton, and Hagman to keep that ball. And Fowler will come up with the middle with a tricky ball into Isaac Brock. Not able to connect, but again, looking to exploit those spaces in the middle as well as on the outside.
Raymond looks middle.
And that's a great ball in to give the Dutchmen the 3-0 lead.
Beautiful placement by Bilesma right there. Just kind of happened to be there, get a little flick off the head. Didn't really need it, but he was there for the help.
Great place at the right time. But that's just the beauty of having an in-swinger on the right side with Raymond with the left foot in-swinging to that PK spot. So dangerous and so difficult for Meredith to judge that ball. And just that tiny flick by Bilesma to finish the play. Beautiful play.
Great job by the Dutchmen to put them up 3-0 with about 35 minutes left to go. The Spartans took a couple seconds to kind of regroup as Gonzalez will put that ball in the midfield line.
And it's great to see different offensive players being able to shine in this game and see different players coming forward to finish in creative ways.
Ball's in the middle to Gonzalez. He pushes it out, but no one's there except for the Dutchman.
Smart header by Woodside just to get it straight to McCormick's hands. And Brock will push it wide again to Fowler on the left side. We can see the Dutchman clearly favoring this left side in the second half.
Dutchman's still doing a great job of maintaining that space. Albritton looks to Fowler again, who looks middle to Dalton. Dalton pressured by McCoy. Brock to Dalt.
And
Dalt
will
with a
pick
speed.
that up and try and get that ball to the middle where he's very confident.
Dalton finds it again.
And
Persistent
so aggressive
with
to
it,
keep
yeah.
that ball. And he'll spread it wide immediately to Raymond on the right side.
Great ball movement by the Dutchman in this last couple seconds.
And again, we can see Raymond cutting in with more space and time. You'd expect to see that Spartan defense stepping up to close that gap.
Ball deflected off Baker, brings it out again. Woodside goes sideline. Nice hands by Meredith.
And great to see him going to the byline with speed. Woodside is a dangerous player in the sense that he's not afraid to get in behind and make those runs.
And good heads-up move by Bilesma as we saw him crashing in.
It seems that into halftime, Dave Brandt probably told this Dutchman defense just to get the attack flowing and to settle into this game, to spread it wide and take advantage of where their strengths are on the sides.
And now definitely a lot more confidence in the Dutchman being up 3-0. Brock up top.
Coming down the middle and just trying to lay it off, but a little lacking in the final third. But Dutchman will maintain possession. And Brock will pick up that ball in the middle again. We're seeing him get a lot of activity, moving on and off the ball like we always say.
Albritton there to intercept the pass. Goes out of bounds, and Wondergem's going to be there for the throw-in. But before that, we're going to get a substitution. 14, Josh Jordan is going to come back into the game. He's going to sub in for Alex Baker. And number 16, Ryan Warman, will take the throw-in instead of Wondergem.
And we see the Spartan defense just trying to regroup and use their strengths. Both Wondergem and Gonzalez with a good bit of pace. But just no one in the final third to connect with them.
Tita Quarzi up top. Goes for a kick. Wide right. Out of bounds. And it'll be a goal kick from McCormick. Claire, if you're the Spartans right now, what is kind of like your go-to game plan? How are you going to either get back into this game, or what are you going to work on to put yourselves in the best opportunities to score that goal?
At this point, the Spartans have nothing to lose, and they do have a lot of pace, and when they've been able to exploit in behind, that's when they're most dangerous. So I say test that defense, test that back line, especially in the center. You can see that the Dutchmen have a ton of pace on the outsides, but in that center, find ways to exploit and split those center backs as much as possible.
That ball will be sail out of bounds, and we'll get a Hope College throw-in from Connor Fowler, sophomore from Minnesota, and we're going to get a sub. In the meantime, Ryan Flynn is going to come in for Ty Dalton, and we're also going to get number 17, James Elwell, who scored our first goal of the day.
Coming in for Isaac Brock.
Yep. Spartans maintain possession. Tata Kwarzi finds McCoy on the sideline, pressured by the Dutchman. Got a little bit of space, but...
And we can see good defensive pressure and good team pressure, not just one-on-one, but just like a good sense of positioning and awareness of where they are.
McCoy's done a great job of really just being involved for his teammates today. He's really been in a lot of the connections between the balls on the defensive side, and also trying to speed things up on the offensive side for his team.
And it looks like we'll see a tactical shift in the midfield of the Dutchman side. Woodside will shift towards the defensive midfielder position, where we've seen him on the right side as an outside back. It's good to see a player that's so versatile and that can shift into many different positions to give the Dutchman more opportunities for attack.
Flynn will push it up to Raymond on the side. He sprints, got a lot of space.
Acres of space.
Goes right past Walker.
And we'll see him cut in. And no call again by the referee. And that ball is still in play.
Raymond's still on the ground.
We'll see 15 Vandergrift come to the byline.
Raymond really struggling to get up. The Spartans have the ball.
And unfortunately to the Dutchman on that attack, just because Vandergrift gave Raymond such a great ball back at that PK spot. But the Dutchmen will maintain possession in their defensive third. Woodside will find that ball in the back line and bring it up forward.
Flynn pushes.
With tons of space in front of him.
Sees Dahl at the sideline. He's attacked. Back to Flynn. Flynn looks middle, finds Elwell.
With a good spin on that ball. Just not able to keep it.
Roop with a nice slide tackle. Brusso coming in hot. Nice little flick to Elwell.
And we'll see Brusso, center back, coming up just to see if he can do a 1-2 and get in on the action.
Tata Kwarzi pushes this ball up to DeWitt. DeWitt with plenty of space as well, pushes it to McCoy.
And good defensive efforts by Dalt to get back on that defense.
Gonzalez with the speed up the sideline, just has Albritton. Finds McCoy.
Will continue to push towards that byline.
Warming up top, goes back to McCoy. And Fowler will kick that out. Get a throw in from Warman.
And we can see legs getting tired and people starting to settle into the game. So any nick is just going to feel a lot worse when your legs are dead.
Back to Warman, finds McCoy. McCoy looks at his options, goes back to Root. Raymond with the interception. Brusso looked to push it, hesitated. Goes for the easy pass to Fowler.
And he'll push that ball up, creeping more inside to create space on the outside. Unfortunately, the exchange didn't work, but the idea was there.
Bilesma putting a lot of pressure on Meredith, who kicks it out. Fowler with the flick. Walker kicks it out to Tata Kwarzi. Looks to get some speed up the sideline. Goes right past Vandergrift, excuse me.
And Elwell will pick that ball up in the middle with a little bit of space. But good effort by DeWitt on the Spartan defense to keep that ball for them.
We're going to get an offsides call. Good hustle, though, by Vandergrift. Just a freshman for this Dutchman squad.
And that's great to see the freshmen getting involved and getting minutes, figuring out what it takes to play at this level.
Jordan finds McCoy. McCoy goes back to Meredith. Looks to reset things.
And this Spartan team is still trying to figure out how to keep possession. It seems very congested and they have high pressure from the men or Dutchmen, but finding a way to keep that ball and exploit those spaces has been their biggest struggle. Tetrakwarzi will put a good ball in behind to Gonzalez, but unfortunately, Alberton is there just to stop that ball, and McCormick will kick it out.
And Warman really going at it. Sticks with the possession. Wonder Gem, the pass is intercepted. We're going to get a throw in that Wonder Gem's going to take.
And we see the Spartan defense exploiting a little bit more on the right side.
McCoy will take this one, passes it into DeWitt. Wonder Gem on the side, looks middle, deflected off Albritton. So they'll get a corner.
And that's a great idea, just trying to get that ball down the goal line and just make that defense run.
McCoy is going to take the kick, it looks like. He saddles it up.
And that ball will go out pretty quickly for a goal kick for the Dutchman.
And we're going to get a lot of substitutions here. First for the Spartans, Nick Serber will come back in. And we're going to have, pardon me on this, I'm going to try to get them all right, make sure I don't miss anyone. Griffin Brusso, Dominic Byrne, number 21, Jack Veld, and Jordan Hooker. And also number 23, Michael Francisco are all back in for the game.
And I love that how Coach Dave Brandt is trying to get all of his players in, get them as much experience as possible, especially when they're up 3-0. They have time to experiment and see what works and how they can change positioning and use their bench.
Serber, with a lot of defense from Burns as well as Francisco. That ball's going to go out of bounds.
And a great double up just to keep pressure on him and give their team time for space.
Substitutions.
We're going to get two more substitutions. Number 4 for the Spartans, Drew Gavitt, as well as number 12, Steve Binning.
Number 12, Stephen Bennett.
Number 4, Drew Gavitt will actually take the throw in. Right away to DeWitt. In the middle, Gonzalez gets a little flick on it. Doesn't go anywhere. Number 14, Josh Jordan, goes for the hard kick, but can't connect with the goal.
And McCormick will pick it up for a goal kick.
Dutchman well spaced out. Looks middle. Hooker's there. Deflected off him. That'll be absorbed by the Spartan defense.
And good press by Hooker to put a little bit of pressure on Meredith, excuse me.
Again, paid off for Hooker. Meredith just barely hangs on to it. He looks for the quick throw out to Warman. Be kicked up to Roop will push that ball up. Binning is there.
In great positioning because he's so tall to get a good head on that ball by Binning.
Brusso has it. Connects with Hooker.
And a tackle by Hooker that will be a foul for the Spartans.
Roop takes it. Easy pass. Out to Renninger. Veld will get a head on it. Jordan finds Walker. Walker out to DeWitt.
We'll find some space into middle, again to Gonzalez, who's constantly finding that ball.
In the middle. Nice little deflection off Serber, but doesn't find the goal.
That's a great cross by Gavitt, and good sight to get that ball one time in to give Serber the best opportunity to finish. McCormick will get that ball and play pretty quickly out to Albritton on the right side.
Dyer tries to take an interception by Walker. Albritton tries to clear.
And I love the interchange of play between center backs and forwards as opposed to going down the middle, just to give them a little bit more space and spread out the game a little bit more.
Oh, a throw-in from Walker, who's had his fair share of throw-ins this game. In trouble finding a good option. Finally settles on DeWitt. Katakwarzi kind of gets in the middle of things. Hope defense being relentless. Walker has to pull it out.
We can see the work rate from Hooker just up at the top, putting pressure on every defender in the center.
Roop sails that one nice and high.
And we'll see a little duck and dive from Byrne.
Serber seems to think that was a little bit painful on his attempt at a header, but walks off just fine.
And Hooker will intercept that ball in the middle with acres of space.
Finds Elwell. Defense crashes out to number 4, Dyer.
And a great ball by Elwell and better ball by Dyer to get that ball for Veld in behind.
Great effort by Hooker. Awesome defense by Roop to keep that away from the goal.
And you can see the difference between the Dutchmen when they're able to get that ball on the ground back towards the PK spot versus in the air. But still very dangerous on both sides to get that ball in behind.
Meredith with the goal kick. Solid kick by Meredith. Serber has it. Sanders up to Gonzalez. Francisco with the hard defense as well as Binning. Gonna get a foul on the play.
A good chop at Binnig's legs. We can see the frustration on this offensive Spartan side starting to set in.
20 minutes to go. The score remains 3-0. The Dutch have the lead. Cormick up to Burns. Burn back to Binning.
Binnig will get that ball wide to Veld, who has acres of space on the outside on the right. And he'll cut inside and maintain possession of that ball.
Good persistent defense by the Spartans. Jordan tries to kick it out. Dyer will take this throw in. Looks like Veld is going to do it. Ball cleared out by Renninger.
Good strength and composure by Albritton to get that 50-50 ball.
Katakwarzi looks middle to Serber. Serber goes back to DeWitt. DeWitt finds Roop. Gavitt intended pass for Warman. The Dutchman will get a throw in. A lot of contact.
And we'll see Ella working to keep that ball, just legs intertwining right in the middle.
Griffin Brusso is sent flying. Dutchman will maintain. Flynn goes to push. Goes against all defenders. Maybe a little bit too fast. Keeps it in bounce. Roop tries to clear.
And Serber will find that ball.
Some help from Gavitt.
But stuffed quickly by Brusso to keep possession for the Dutchman. And a lot of back and forth, but we'll see a lot of defensive coverage by these Dutchmen. They're just so gritty and working so hard to maintain possession. It'll be back with McCormick just to give them space and time to develop the play.
Dutchman reset. Headed in the middle. Headed again by Gavitt. Ball brought down. Francisco has it. Looks up to Hooker. Roop mixing things up. Taken back by Warman. Give the nice easy kick to Meredith, who will clear this ball.
And again, we can see the Dutchman trying to experiment with the point man just to spread that ball wide.
Serber looks to push. Gonzalez. Gonna get a foul on the Dutch.
The work rate of Gonzalez has been incredible during this game. He's been the main point man for the Spartans, getting in behind that defense and trying to find those pockets of space. And the beauty of it is he'll do it anywhere on the field, whether it's outside or in the center. Just unfortunate with opportunities in this game.
Yes, but a lot of good ideas made by the Spartans. Just haven't been able to capitalize on them as Drake DeWitt have the kick. A lot of white. Dutchman will head it out.
And Walker will pick it up on the left side.
Jordan looks middle, finds DeWitt. DeWitt goes for the big kick. Almost hits a fan right in the face, but not the goal. McCormick will get the ball, and we're going to get a couple more substitutions. Wonder Gem will come back into the game as well as McCoy. And we're going to get a switch of goalies. McCormick has done a fabulous job thus far this game, but we're going to see Joey Weber, the freshman from Buckley, will come in to finish us out with about 16 minutes left to go.
And that's incredible to get those minutes and just get that time to see what you can do.
Yeah, awesome job by McCormick to keep the Spartans scoreless. And we'll see what Buckley has to offer us.
And we'll see Elwell get that ball out wide to Velt, who has a lot of space to play with again.
And I think, Claire, you can maybe answer on this because I think you would know the answer better than I would on this. But I think this is some of the best team chemistry we've seen from the Hope men's soccer team in the 4 years that we've been here.
Definitely. We're seeing a lot more interchange, not necessarily in the middle as much, out wide, which we haven't seen in the past. And it's been something where we're seeing players shine in different new positions, like Raymond on the outside right side, and then Woodside as an outside back, but also in the midfield. So developing that versatility and team chemistry in many different places just creates more connections that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, I think that they've done a really awesome job this far, and it's giving the Hope faithful some optimism as far as this season has to offer. Flynn with the kick. A little wide. That one just will sail out of bounds. Hooker tries to get it, but
right.
Can't
you can
quite.
still see these teams both trying to figure out what set plays are going to work and what adjustments they need to make and how they want to place the ball. Which it'll be cool for both these teams to see that development over the entire season.
Meredith will take the goal kick. We're around the 14-minute mark, 3-0. The one there to absorb the pass is Dyer.
We can see little bursts of speed. It's just been very interesting and very powerful to see the Dutchmen just still continuing on with so much pressure on that ball and still continuing with the same urgency.
Tetakwarzi with a good pass up, but defense absorbs it. Bidding goes out to Veld. Veld pushes it up to Flynn. Flynn looks like he's ready to run.
And that's a good early ball into Flynn just to spread that space and get it on the other side of the field. You can see the Dutchmen pushing it into the box as often as possible. And we'll see Veld again going to that byline with speed. He's not afraid to take players on, we can see.
Out on the sideline, Dyer will save it. Albritton across field to Francisco, yep.
And he'll spread that ball wide to Brusso.
Brusso looks at his options, goes middle.
And he looks to cut in and try and get a shot off. Unfortunately, deflection that gives it straight to Meredith, but a good idea.
Good crash by Hooker in case of a deflection. We're going to get, that's teamwork right there. Tying your goalie's shoe. The best form of teamwork.
Best form of servant leadership.
That is awesome. That's how you build friendship right there. Great job from Redinger. Meredith with the kick.
And he'll get that ball in play. And a little confusion between Dutchmen.
A little bit of a push from Serber. Albritton will take the kick.
And And he'll take his time setting this play up.
Yeah, the Dutchman in no rush. Finds Binnig for the easy pass. He goes middle to Byrne. Byrne looks sideline to Francisco, who's got a lot of space to work with.
And he's trying to weigh his options, see what the best way to go forward is. And he'll keep that ball in for a throw-in for the Dutchman.
Good defense by Gavitt and Warman. Brusso with the ball in the middle. Collected by Meredith. Strong kick from Meredith. Veld's there to put it on the ground.
And he's just been in the right place at the right time throughout this game.
Serber looks up to Teta Quarcy, but we're going to get an offsides call. Good hustle by Teta Quarcy and good positioning.
And that's unfortunate because we can see so much speed with this Spartan team, just not being able to connect in the final third.
Binnig with the boot. Walker's there. Dyer persistent on the play.
And he'll pick that ball up for Elwell in the middle. And Dyer's still on the ball.
Veld up the sideline. Dangerous to give him space. Deflected out of the box. Serber pushes up. Francisco's there.
And we can see as these legs get tired, it's harder to get that ball in behind. So being smart with these plays and finding ways to keep possession locally before looking long is so important in these final minutes.
Flynn takes his time, pushes it out to Dyer. Dyer with the accidental pass to Teta Quarcy, who pushes it up to Wonder Gem. Wonder Gem just has Albritton, and Albritton will take that ball away. Binning will intercept the pass to Weber. He'll get things moving again. We're nearing the 10-minute mark.
And we just see so much more space opening up for these Dutchman midfielders. And a good ball by Flynn to get that ball to Brusso, who nearly gets a shot off in the middle.
From Brusso with some great positioning for himself. And it's like Brett Dyer will take the corner.
And we just see so much more creativity from this Dutchman offense. We see them cutting in, making plays in between defenders, and just spreading the ball wide, just playing to their strengths as much as possible and tiring out the other defense quickly so they have more space to play around with the ball.
We're going to get a substitution for the Spartans. It'll be Max Baker's first appearance in the game. He'll come out for Serber.
Substitutions entering the lineup for Manchester.
And also, I think Hope College is going to have a substitution. Vandy Griffiths will be back in.
Dolan Vandergrift. And number 19, Dalton Brusso.
As well as Dalton Brusso will come back in.
And a quick corner by the Dutchman, and they nearly had an opportunity to score another one with Meredith off his line. But that ball will go out for a goal kick for Meredith.
And one more substitution for the Dutch, Petrus Martins. He'll come in for Brett Dyer, who's played some good minutes for the Dutch today.
And a ball up the center that's just flicked on. And the Spartans will maintain possession with a free kick.
Sanders hustled towards it to kick it over to McCoy, who will take the kick. Hooker, the standing defender. McCoy with a nice ball to the middle. Up in the air. Veld will head that out of bounds and
That'll
give
go
the
out for a
Spartans
corner.
a chance for some scoring opportunities.
Substitution.
We're going to get a substitution for Manchester. Noah Tong will come back in the game. He'll come in for Walker.
We see Walker taking his time off the field. Just so much running and such tired legs after 90 minutes, especially when you're constantly turning around in that back line and having to run 50 yards for a space or for the ball in behind.
Ball in the middle. Headed out. McCoy's there to help. Tries to bring it down to Teta Quarcy. Teta Quarcy goes for the shot. Hard kick.
Unfortunately, he'll just be a little offsides.
Joey Weber get his first chance at a goal kick for the day. But looks like we just did a throw-in instead.
Tentaquarsi will pick that ball back up. And we can see the relationship still trying to develop and form between Tentaquarsi and Gonzalez. They're still trying to figure out what that interchange and what that play looks like because they both have speed and they're both capable of getting in behind.
Weber with the boot. Hooker's there. He brings it down.
And another great player just to settle the ball in the middle up at the top of the field for the Dutchman in Hooker.
Drew Gavitt persistent on the play to keep it alive for the Spartans. Moved up and Vandegrift will get a head on it. Hooker with a lot of pressure, looks middle. Veld will maintain possession on this, looks forward. Meredith comes off the goal to intercept, telling his team to push back.
I'm interested to see how Veld develops throughout this year just because he's so willing to go forward, but is so good to get back on that defense because of that speed.
An awesome aggressive presence for the Dutch. Throwing for Warman. Right away to Baker.
And that's a good idea, but just couldn't connect with Gonzalez.
Spinning goes cross to Brusso.
Good speed by him to keep that ball for the Dutchman in a dangerous spot.
Good pressure by Tetaquarzi. Dutchman forced to push it up. Spartans bring it back. Brusso with the kick up to Martins. Martins finds Flynn. Flynn looks middle to Byrne. Byrne to Elwell. Baker will intercept. Out to McCoy. McCoy looks back to Roop.
And that ball, unfortunately, will go out of bounds. Just not being able to connect at all, especially in these final minutes for the Spartan defense and offense.
We're going to have a substitution. Senior Sam Mason will come into the game for Elwell. That ball is into Griffin Brusso. Right back to Vandegrift. Flynn keeps it alive. Veld pushes it up to Martins. Martins looks middle to Hooker. Hooker back out to Veld. Veld looks middle. Hooker will try to take the kick, deflected by Renninger. Meredith will clear the ball.
And it's so fun to see these Dutchmen testing the different options and seeing the different ways they attack. In the first half, we saw a little bit more attack down the right side, but now we see a little bit of both on the left and right. And the Spartans will pick this up on the counter in just a little bit of space, but again, not able to connect in that final third.
Veld middle to Mason. Mason off of McCoy, so Gonzalez will take control. Gavitt tries to go middle to Gonzalez, but can't connect, intercepted. Brusso looks to run.
And this is the first center back play I've seen with such tricky feet. Just see where he is up on the field. Right in the middle, almost like a holding midfielder rather than a center back.
So Martin will pull it out. Flynn pushes it out to Veld. Veld with a little bit of space. Kicks middle, good placement. A little wide. Griffin Brusso is there. He deflected out of bounds from Sanders.
And good positioning by him to keep that possession for the Dutchman.
Griffin Brusso will give us our throw-in. Finds Nolan Vandegrift. Good heads-up play by Renninger to deflect that ball out of bounds.
That'll go for a corner for the Dutchman.
Looks like Martins is going to take this one. 3.5 minutes left to go in the second half. It's 3-0. The Dutchmen are still in the lead. Martins with the kick. Griffin Brusso with the header, can't do much with it.
But he'll keep that ball alive in the box.
Stripped from Flynn. And Mason Cross, which my apologies for missing his substitution. clears the ball.
And a throw from Vandegrift in the offensive third.
Cross will flick it out of bounds. And Vandegrift taking the throw in. Looks at his options, goes for Hooker in the middle. He deflects it. Mason tries to maintain control. And looks like Mason, off the bar!
Off the post, so unlucky. He'll try and flick that in for a last goal for the Dutchman, but just too unlucky on that post.
Beautiful persistence on the play. Just one of those unlucky shots. Ball's taken out. Veld keeps it alive.
And Brusso will find Byrne in the middle with acres of space.
Petrus has it in the middle. Dutchmen have new life in them. Cross ball, no one's there to help, so that's going to go out of bounds.
And again, it's so good to see the consistency of pressure from this Dutchman defense, or Dutchman offense.
Entering the lineup for Manchester.
And we're going to get Josh Jordan, number 14, back in the game, for Tetakwarzi. The minute 40 left to go. Meredith will take the goal kick. Clock winding down, now at a minute and a half. He takes the kick. Headed around. Mason will get it. Pushes it up to Hooker.
And good aggression for him to keep coming forward.
They find Griffin. Bruce on the sideline, but Cross with the tough defense.
A good hustle by both just to see who can fight for that ball.
1 minute. 1 minute.
1 minute warning.
Vandergriff
goes for the easy throw in to Byrne.
And as both of these teams go into the rest of their seasons, it will be interesting how both of them exploit their speed at the top especially. The Dutchmen, we can see they have speed all over on the outside and especially in the center. But it'll be interesting for the Spartans as well because they do have a good bit of speed on the outside as well as up at the top, especially in Gonzalez and Tetakwarzi.
So exciting things up for both of these teams.
And a good ball by Binning just to get it wide to Veld quickly and efficiently.
Ball in the box. Out of bounds, so Meredith will get a goal kick. We're about 10 seconds away.
8.
This might be one of the final kicks of the game.
5, 4, 3.
Up in the air, headed around. Wonder Gem with the final kick. And that'll do it today for us, folks. The Hope College Flying Dutchmen come away with a 3-0 win against the Manchester Spartans. A great way for our Dutchmen to start off this season. Claire, what do you think was the big motivational factor, best thing? Don't know what I'm trying to word right now, but the number one thing that allowed the Dutchmen to win this game.
The Dutchmen had speed, especially on the outsides. Once they were able to settle into this game, specifically in the second half, and expose the back line and get in behind, and really find those pockets of space in between the defenders, they became so much more effective. And then it became about finishing the play, which they did a great job of, especially in the second half.
So that'll do it today for us, folks. Hope College football is up very soon, starting at 7, so they have about 14 minutes until their game time. But Claire and I will be right back here tomorrow as the Hope College Flying Dutch play Stockton tomorrow in the Cal Bursma Memorial Tournament. It is Community Day, an awesome turnout for the Dutch. We hope to see you tomorrow. Roll Dutch. Thanks.
Pick it up and deposit it in the containers located below. Hope College staff would very much appreciate that.